Abhay Prabhu, I would really want to understand. Lord Jagannath leaves his temple to come out and then meet everyone. Right? What message does this give to those who feel spiritually distant?
If we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, that all the living entities are my own part and parcels.
We have a wonderful story and pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing before Lord Jagannath's chariot, one of the most celebrated pastime. Could you please explain his internal mood and why is it so important in Gaudiya Vaishnavas?
विश्वंभर जगन्नाथ की चलाते पारे आपन इच्छाए चले करिते विहारे.
So which deities are carried in the Rath? Is it the same in all Rath Yatras that happen across the world?
So deities carried on the Rath are Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, none other than Krishna, Balram and their sister Subhadra. And this is same all over the world.
One practical tip for families celebrating this year.
Coming together and doing kirtan every day, at least 2 to 5 minutes minimum.
Jagannath, Jagannath, Neela Chalwale.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you all for another episode of the Vaishnav Utsav Podcast. Today we explore the significance of Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra with His Grace Damodar Priya Prabhu and His Grace Abhay Govind Prabhu. Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra will be celebrated this year on the 16th of July, and whether you are attending it locally or with your family, this discussion will definitely help you spiritually advance with the mercy of Lord Jagannath. So, without any further delay, I would like to take permission from Damodar Das Prabhu and ask the first question. Spiritually, when and what are we celebrating, Prabhuji, during the Rath Yatra? What is the significance of Lord Jagannath's story and the pastime for Gaudiya Vaishnavas?
Hare Krishna. Very nice, that today we have discussion on Jagannath Rath Yatra festival, third Vaishnav Utsav podcast. Today we have with us His Grace Abhay Govind Prabhu also. So, what is the significance of Jagannath Rath Yatra and why do we celebrate Jagannath Rath Yatra all together? Actually? So, we all know that Lord Krishna stayed in Vrindavan only for 11 years. And after that, actually, he left Vrindavan and he went to Mathura and eventually he came to Dwarka. So, one particular time, actually, Krishna happened to go to Kurukshetra. And there, actually, the Brajavasis also happened to come there. When the Brajavasis, they all came together, that time, Radharani and other gopis, they requested Krishna that, we are in a very nice place, but you are dressed like a king. We are not in our home, Vrindavan. So, I request you that you all please, come back to Vrindavan. And that's how, actually, originally the Rath Yatra began. And Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra and all three of them, actually, they were put in the Ratha and the Gopi, they were pulling, they were calling Krishna back to Vrindavan. Originally, how the form of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra actually manifested within the material world is a long history. So, long story cut short. Long back, actually, once Krishna, he was there in Dwarka. And all the Dwarkavasis, they got so much mesmerized that what is that with Brajavasis or what all kind of pastimes Krishna performed in Braj, that Krishna always remembers actually, the Brajavasis and the Braj Gopis and everybody. So then they appointed actually Rohini Mata for discussing the pastimes that Krishna has performed actually in Vrindavan. And for the entrance or guarding the entrance actually, Subhadra Maiya was kept actually. Because if Krishna and Balram, they get reminded of the pastimes of Vrindavan, then they will go back to Vrindavan actually. So Subhadra Maiya was guarding the entrance and Krishna and Balram, they happened to come and Rohini Maiya was describing the pastimes inside. Now at the entrance actually Jagannath is there or Krishna is there, then Baladev is there, Balramji is there and Subhadra is there. All three of them, they went into ecstasy and in that ecstasy actually their hands got shrunken, their legs got shrunken, their eyes became very big. And at this particular time, one great personality who is there in most of the pastimes actually common, Narad Muni, he comes there and he prays to the Lord that, oh Lord, this particular form of yours, we wish to worship you. And then the Lord also blessed that this form of mine is known as actually Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. And it is eternally worshipped. And that's how actually, the form of Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra came. But how Jagannath, Rath Yatra is being celebrated is inviting actually the Lord from Dwarka to Vrindavan actually. That's how it is being celebrated. So originally, Krishna, Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra, all three of them, they were there in Dwarka at one point of time. And when Krishna got to know that the Brajvasi, they are missing him so much, that time Krishna was not going, because if he goes, then he will not be able to come back. So the Brajvasis or the Dwarkavasis, they decided that, okay, at least let us send from our side Subhadra Devi. So Subhadra was going actually in the chariot. And when Subhadra was going, then Baladev thought, how can my sister alone go? So then Baladev also went behind. And when Baladev and Subhadra, they went together, they went one after another in the chariot. And what is the significance of this Jagannath Rath Yatra actually in the philosophy or in the life of Gaudiya Vaishnavas specifically? So we all know that this Viraha Bhav or Vipralamba Bhav is the essence of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. And that is the highest experience that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give to all the devotees actually. That is called love in separation actually. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Jagannath Puri is also known as actually the Vipralamba Kshetra or the Viraha Kshetra actually, where the highest ecstasies of devotional service are experienced. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically emphasized in participating in Rath Yatra. In fact, he himself went and cleaned actually the Gundicha temple very nicely. And then he participated actually in Rath Yatra. So anybody who participates in Rath Yatra actually, they become very dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji for wonderfully explaining the entire Rath Yatra story. So this really feels how Lord is Bhakta Vatsalya and wants to connect to his devotees. Now, Abhay Prabhu, I would really want to understand, Lord Jagannath leaves his temple to come out and then meet everyone. Right? What message does this give to those who feel spiritually distant from the Lord?
Hare Krishna. So thank you, Prabhu, for this beautiful question. So often in our tradition, there are so many festivals, so many rituals, and it is not surprising because of the hustle and bustle of today's world, we start following them very mechanically. But when we know the spirit behind the ritual, it becomes spiritual. And when we are spiritual, we can actually relish the happiness and bliss of all these festivals. And to come to your question, if we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, that all the living entities are my own part and parcels. They are my children. Aham Bija Pradapitaha. So the Supreme Lord Krishna is like the Supreme Father of all the living entities. And naturally, he has that fatherly loving disposition towards all the living entities. And just like in this world also we see, if there's a very wealthy father, and sometimes the children out of bad association, they go astray. They go away from the father. They start bickering among themselves. They start fighting among themselves. They start to live a relatively, less wealthy life just because they don't want to serve the father. Correct? And because of that, though the father is very opulent, they are not able to enjoy that wealth. But just by becoming subservient to the will of the father, they can avail entire wealth. And just like that father is hankering, when will my children come back? And there's a beautiful story like this also in the Bible. So the point is, the Supreme Lord is waiting from time immemorial. When will my children come back to me? And like that, he also expands as Paramatma, accompanying all the spirit souls in different bodies through all the species. And now it has come to such a peak of Lord's hankering to get his souls back to him, that he is ready to go out of his temple to inspire those people, his own children, to come back to him. So this is the mood of Rath Yatra, which is centered around Krishna's selfless love for all his children, even though they have despise against him, even though they want to envy him and they want to live a life separate of him. So this is the mood of Rath Yatra.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So you have wonderfully explained how we as Krishna's children, we are so far away and then still Krishna wants to come closer to us and is giving us this opportunity to join this festival and be a part of the Lord of the Rath Yatra chariot. Now, thousands gather to pull the ropes of Lord Jagannath's chariot. What is the deeper symbolism behind pulling the chariot. So I would like to get some insights from Damodar Prabhuji.
So the pulling of the chariot actually represents inviting the Lord in our hearts. So just as Abhay Govind was very nicely describing to all of us, that the living entities have been separated from the Lord since long time. And without the association of the Lord, without serving the Lord, the living entities are suffering like anything. They are battling within the material world. So the Lord comes, just finds out some or other excuse to give compassion or mercy to the living entities. So Rath Yatra is one of the most important festival for all the devotees to give out mercy to all the living entities. In fact, if you remember last time we discussed, King Indradyumna asked for 3 boons. One of the boons, what are those 3 boons? First boon that he asked was, "Oh Lord, your darshan should not get closed." So if you go to Jagannath Puri, all the time actually the darshan is open. Only for 1.5 hours the darshan gets closed. And that is also called as actually Deva darshan. The demigods, they come for darshan during that. The second boon that he asked that, "Oh Lord, please eat all the time. Before, your hands get dried, second time again you start eating." And that's how actually so many items are offered to Lord Jagannath. And the specific significance is that whatever is cooked is offered as it is. Everything is offered there. And then that is being offered to the living entities as Mahaprasad. Correct? So anybody who accepts Mahaprasad of the Lord, anybody who accepts the holy name of the Lord, anybody who participates actually in Rath Yatra of the Lord, they all actually get benefited. And King Indradyumna was so compassionate that he said that I don't want any child, because if I have a child then my love will get divided. So that is the third boon that he asked. So King Indradyumna is also setting example for all of us that the significance of Rath Yatra is actually to show compassion to all the living entities. Somehow or other the living entities should be connected back to Krishna. And in Rath Yatra we understand that when Lord comes out, even those who are coming from other religions, they may not be following the so-called quote and unquote Hindu dharma or anything like that. They also can see the form of the Lord. And Lord Jagannath, he is the Lord of Jagannath. He is the Lord of entire universe. That's how his name is also actually Jagannath. And his eyes are very big. Huge eyes are there. Correct? We say Jagannath chakane neela chalvare tu na sambhale tu hame kaun sambhale. So it says that the Lord has very big eyes. With big eyes, what he sees, any small service that one is doing during Rath Yatra or other time, the Lord is observing those details. And it is said, anybody who pulls Rath Yatra, Ratha actually, and participates in Rath Yatra, serves in Rath Yatra, such living entities are being, captured by the special CCTV camera of Lord Jagannath, and they will not take birth again in this material world. That is the significance of Rath Yatra. That's how it is so famous. Everybody is very enthusiastic to participate in Rath Yatra. So as a devotees in our lives, we should very enthusiastically participate in Jagannath Rath Yatra. And as per the convenience and as per the local temple guidance, or as per if we are participating in Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, then participate as per the guidance that are given by the temple.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for beautifully explaining the importance of Rath Yatra. And coming back to Abhay Prabhuji, what can devotees meditate upon while performing this service? This is a very important service that Damodar Priya Prabhuji has explained about. So what should be devotee meditating upon when doing this service?
Thank you, Prabhu, for the question. So if we see, there's a very interesting event that happens before Jagannath Rath Yatra, and this is known as Gundicha Marjanam. So in this Gundicha Marjanam, so Gundicha temple is the destination where Jagannath Baladev Subhadra are taken to, and that represents our heart. So it is said and is remarked by George Harrison, a very world-renowned singer, musician. He said that everyone is looking for Krishna. Some know it and some don't. So the natural propensity to serve, to love, to be loved for every living entity can be fully fulfilled to the deepest extent when they connect with Krishna or Jagannath. But because we are completely distant, we have distanced ourselves from Krishna or Jagannath, that's why we are feeling that pinprick, despite all the modern technological advancement, etc., etc. So Gundicha Marjanam represents very important and very deep aspect of this festival, where we actually clean the temple of Jagannath so that Jagannath can feel homely and comfortable in that Gundicha Mandir, which actually coincides with cleaning our own heart. So when we clean our heart, then Krishna is more than eager to come and reside there. Because we ultimately want what? We all want love. Mm-hmm. We want money. We are working so hard for money. We are working so hard for relationships in this world. We're working so hard for position, prestige, and so on and so forth. Everything for what? Ultimately happiness. And that happiness finds itself only in true love. And that love can only be found because eternal love is what we're looking for. It can be found in eternal relationship, that is with Krishna or Jagannath. So when we clean the temple of our heart and allow the Supreme Lord to enter, then we can be truly happy. And as on the roads, on the streets, when Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra are there sitting on their chariots, and we are pulling, struggling, what is our meditation? Our meditation is, O Lord Jagannath, the Supreme Lord of the universe, O Baladev, O Subhadra, kindly consider my heart a worthy place for your residence. And this is the mood of Jagannath Rath Yatra.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. You have so wonderfully explained how cleaning our heart is equivalent to cleaning the Gundicha temple, and so that Krishna can reside. Now, many of our listeners are families, professionals, and young devotees. How can they celebrate Rath Yatra meaningfully beyond just attending the festival? Because a lot of time we tend to just attend the festival, have some prasadam, which is definitely a part of the parampara and the festival. But how do we do it meaningfully as a family, professional, or as a young devotee that we have?
So this is a very practical question, very relevant for most of our viewers also. So there are two things, there are two aspects to this question. One is for those who are able to attend a Rath Yatra in their locality. So for them, let us not just be the third party audience, this Rath Yatra. Let us take a sankalpa that I'm going to invest my consciousness. Because actually we're not this body, we're spirit soul. And the essence of the spirit soul is consciousness. You might be in the Rath Yatra, but if you're thinking about stock market, then what is the use? So let us invest our consciousness into every aspect of Rath Yatra. Let us be enthusiastic. The Lord has come out on the street. So now we see Prime Minister Modi or any person in top position. When they go on streets, people are flocking. They're wooing and wailing and shouting slogans and celebrating. But here we're not talking about a prime minister or president of an ordinary geographical demarcation. We are talking about the boss, the supreme proprietor of all universes, Akhilanta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka. And he has decided to come on the street out of his causeless mercy and love for all of us. How enthusiastic and how delighted we should be. So we should invest our consciousness we should adopt this mood. We should invest our consciousness in every aspect. We should see, is there any service that I can do? Is there any, whether small or big, can I do something for the Lord? Let us actually understand that Krishna is coming personally. So personal aspect is very important in spiritual life. And also we can do so many other things like prepare bhoga at home, offer to the Lord, offer some flowers, sing loudly so that you inspire so many others also to sing. It is said that Lord Jagannath is fond of one activity, and that activity is Kirtan. This is something as whether we are unpad or we may be doctors, lawyers and engineers in the society, everyone can do. And this is special benediction of Kali Yuga. And Jagannath is simply ecstatic. When you see Lord Jagannath's face, what is that akara? What does it represent? It's ecstasy. Right? And you can make Jagannath's smile bigger. His eyes go bigger when you actually chant the holy names loudly and louder and louder. So in that way, those who are attending in the locality, we can do these things. But those who are not able to attend, whatever circumstances it may be, then our own homes, we can actually, create a facility by which we can offer the Supreme Lord some bhoga, some flowers, invite guests, invite neighbors, have a festival, talk about Krishna, read about Krishna, chant the holy names, and becomes a very blissful celebration.
for wonderfully explaining the significance and the importance of celebrating Jagannath Rath Yatra at home for all our young and family devotees. Damodar Priya Prabhuji, so I would like to get some insights from you as well.
Abhay Prabhu has very nicely described how to celebrate actually as at home. So I just remember actually as you are asking this question, 2020, that was the COVID time, and we all were not allowed actually to go out and participate in Jagannath Rath Yatra. So we all were told that everybody can participate, everybody can celebrate Jagannath Rath Yatra. By how? By cooking a big feast for Jagannath. So as Abhay Prabhu has said, Jagannath is very fond of Kirtan. Similarly, Lord Jagannath is very fond of Bhoga also. So devotees can cook at their houses. They can offer to Lord Jagannath. Their children can make a small chariot. As we know that actually Prabhupada also when he was a small boy, he made a small chariot and there in the locality itself he used to have Jagannath Rath Yatra. So I know many colleges actually there, they do Rath Yatra locally in the college itself. So in case in your locality Jagannath Rath Yatra is not taking place, find out some or other in every city almost ISKCON does actually Rath Yatra. And in case unfortunately if it is not happening, then you can become the medium of organizing a Rath Yatra. Correct? What else would be a better fortune than that? And why actually Jagannath Rath Yatra is so important? See, nobody in the creation you can think that a person is coming out of his house or his temple, then 10 to 20 lakh people are waiting eagerly to welcome such a person.
Not even the biggest.
Yeah, even if you consider, the biggest gatherings like Prime Minister is coming, the PM is coming, or, the President of America is coming and all, max to max 1 lakh, 2 lakh. That too also I have seen actually such, rallies, these party workers of such political people actually they come and they pay people and they say that today you will be given free food, this, that and all. But surprisingly for Jagannath Rath Yatra, not even a single invitation is sent out actually by Puri temple.
Yes.
It is told that this day Jagannath Rath Yatra is there, and by default 10 to 20 lakh people are there, and that too not just 1 year, year after year, every year, and this celebration is going on since centuries together. So this shows that Lord Jagannath is real controller. He is really the proprietor of this entire universe, and he is the enjoyer. And we also will become fortunate provided we participate in his enjoyment, and we by default we become happy.
So one of the things that I would also like to add, Prabhuji, here is, as you said, Lord Jagannath is the Lord of the universe. He is also showing mercy upon many other devotees who are from different countries. Because it is said that not everyone is allowed in the temple, right? So this is where Lord Jagannath is showing mercy by meeting devotees from US. People will be visiting, right, from Europe and many other countries. So this is where Lord Jagannath is showing mercy. Coming back to mercy, we have a wonderful story and pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing before Lord Jagannath's chariot, one of the most celebrated pastime. Could you please explain his internal mood and why is it so important in Gaudiya Vaishnavism?
विश्वम्बर जगन्नाथ की चलाते पारे आपने इच्छाए चले करिते विहारे. So as you have asked, what is the internal mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in pulling the chariot? So when Lord Jagannath was taken out of the chariot, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita very nicely describes that the Pandas, they are taking out Lord Jagannath and they put actually Lord Jagannath on the pillows. And when the Lord was put on the pillows, actually the pillows were bursting out. A lot of cotton was coming out and all. So it appears that actually the Daitas are taking out Lord Jagannath. But in the next verse, immediately corrects that Vishwambara Jagannath ke chalaite pare. Who can move? The Lord of the universe. He is moving actually, or he is going by his own sweet will. Correct? No? So that's how actually the Lord moves. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and he was pulling the chariot, to take Lord Jagannath to Vrindavan. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita only the description comes at one point of time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is there actually in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and Lord Jagannath, who is there in the mood of Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes behind the chariot stops. And then the king Pratap Rudra, he calls actually the wrestlers, very strong people, they start pulling actually the chariot. Nothing happened. Then he calls for the elephants to move the chariot. Nothing happened. The elephants were making all different kinds of sounds just to pull the chariot very hard. But not even 1 inch actually the chariot moved. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went behind the chariot and with his head just pushed little bit actually the chariot. Immediately started rolling actually. So this shows that Lord Jagannath is coming out to show compassion. So he does multitasking. He is the real multitasker actually. So simultaneously he is showing compassion to all the living entities. He is fulfilling the wish and desire of all the devotees from all over the universe. At the same time, he is actually feeling separation from Srimati Radharani. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching all of us that this Gundicha temple represents Vrindavan and Lord is there in Dwarka. So just by pulling the chariot, we are helping actually the devotees, or specifically the gopis, to invite the Lord actually from Dwarka to Vrindavan. And that's where Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, my place of residence, I don't want anywhere else. I want to reside in that place where the gopis need help in order to bring Lord Jagannath from Dwarka to Vrindavan. So this is internal mood and it is little high for all of us to appreciate. But what we can very easily appreciate in our heart, in our practical life, as Abhay Govind was very nicely describing, that clean our heart, or at least as Rath Yatra is coming, at our home we can do this small practice of coming together and chanting the names of Lord Jagannath or chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. All the family members, they come together and they sing this Hare Krishna Mahamantra together. Then such a family actually will be very happy and blissful family. It is said that a family which prays together stays together. Correct? So if all devotees, in the family, husband, wife, children, everybody come and participate in Kirtan, they will spiritually, progress like anything actually. So that's how actually one can, understand the internal mood and practically apply that also in one's life.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji for wonderfully explaining the mood behind Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy on the Rath Yatra. So one of the final takeaway that we have as we come to the end of the podcast. So I have some quick rapid fire for both of you and we can take one question each. So if every devotee who's listening today remembers just one lesson from Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra, what would that lesson be?
Inviting the Lord in one's heart by prayerful attitude and praying Nilachale Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadravyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha. So pray together to Lord Jagannath and invite the Lord in one's heart by chanting the holy name.
So we can also acknowledge Krishna's supreme kindness in coming on the streets just to welcome us so that we can welcome him into our hearts.
So in one word, what does Lord Jagannath mean to you?
Compassion.
Ecstasy.
One practical tip for families celebrating this year.
So one practical lesson that we can learn actually for our practical life, coming together and doing Kirtan every day, at least 2 to 5 minutes minimum.
So like I've already mentioned before, let us take the sankalpa of being more enthusiastic and investing our consciousness. We may be doing some small service at our home or some small service at the temple during the participating in an actual Rath Yatra. Let us just be conscious that Krishna is personally there and let us give our personal presence to Krishna.
Can I wear chappal while pulling Rath, Prabhuji, or do I need to follow any specific rituals?
As per the tradition in Jagannath Rath Yatra, the devotees actually do not wear chappals or shoes or anything like that. They just walk barefoot, and that is a thing that is being followed there. But here in the cities like Bangalore and other places, some practical considerations has to be taken care. And as per the guidelines of the local temple and the organizers of Rath Yatra, whatever guidance they give, we can follow that. And we have to be aware about that because we cannot be just sentimental sometimes. Like in one of the Rath Yatra, actually the devotees, they were told that you are supposed to wear chappals, but they did not wear chappals. And heavy rain was there, and because of that, in the locality there was some current or electricity current that was spreading, and some devotees got hurt. So it is best for all of us that we follow the guidelines that are given by the local temples.
So which deities are carried in the Rath? Is it the same in all Rath Yatras that happen across the world?
So deities carried on the Rath are Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, none other than Krishna, Balram, and their sister Subhadra. And this is same all over the world because Prabhupada famously said that Lord Jagannath is not Odiyanath or Purinath. He is Jagannath. So, and this is the mercy of the Prabhupada that he has established Rath Yatra festivals all over the world. And recently we have seen Rath Yatra in Harrisburg, New York City, and so many places. Canada is one of the biggest Rath Yatra in the whole world. So like this, everywhere, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra are being carried.
Same. So as we conclude, we remind all our listeners that Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra will be celebrated on 16th July this year. We encourage everyone to visit the nearby temple, visit ISKCON Sarjapur Road, participate in Kirtan, honor Prasad, and remember Lord Jagannath's mercy. Our heartfelt thanks to His Grace Damodar Priya Prabhu, His Grace Abhay Govind Prabhu. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your family members. Until next time, Hare Krishna, Jai Jagannath.
Okay, so everybody is invited for this year Rath Yatra that is there in Sheshadirpuram temple on 18th of July, Saturday. So please come and participate. Since morning there will be a lot of services and then eventually Rath Yatra also will be there. You all can participate along with your family members, relatives and with your friends and everybody else. Jai Jagannath!
तू न संभाले तो हमें कौन संभाले